Hey, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about 1987, The Running Man, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. This movie came out the same year as Predator. This movie's release date actually got pushed back because of Predator, which in my opinion up front, I will say Predator is obviously a much superior action movie and a better movie all around. But The Running Man has its charms. And if you're a Schwarzenegger fan, I am sure you like it too. There's just some charm to it, and it's a cool little film. It's fun. It also stars Jesse Ventura, Jim Brown as stalkers. You got Richard Dawson in there as Killian. You might remember Richard Dawson from a show called Hogan's Heroes, and he also hosted the Family Feud back. I think he hosted it from 75 to 86 or something. And he kind of plays a scumbag game show host. This movie is actually based on a story written by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. Rob Cohen, the director of the original Fast and the Furious movie, bought the rights to the book and wanted to make it into a movie. They wanted several different directors to direct the movie and ended up choosing a TV director to make it. Actually, Arnold Schwarzenegger is quoted as saying he was unhappy with the look of the film. He said the director only had done TV up to that point, and the movie looks like a TV movie. Just with better production values, obviously. It was a pretty nice sized budget for the time, $27 million. And if you haven't ever seen the movie, it's based in the future, and a dystopian future where the government and the entertainment industry are intertwined, and they run everything. And there's a show called The Running Man, and the show basically takes criminals and puts them in with the promise of getting a pardon and release from prison if they can survive the game. And they're basically in like this sled shot into the game zone, and they have to survive these different levels while being stalked by these big muscular guys that are trying to kill them. That's pretty much the game. And as we see in the future, everybody watches this show. It's the most popular show on TV, and the public just wants bloodshed. They want to see these guys kill these criminals. And it's pretty much The Running Man, it's pretty much the gist of The Running Man. Arnold Schwarzenegger he's in the military at the beginning of the movie, and he gets orders he doesn't agree with and tells him pretty much to shove it, and he's taken into custody and he's arrested. It fast forwards a little bit, and he's on work detail, and him and a couple of buddies just break out of prison, and his plan is to go somewhere and hide. The other two guys are more into resistance, this band of people that want to overthrow the government and the network that controls everything. Arnold doesn't want anything to do with that, and he basically says, my brother's going to get me out of the country. And this is where he meets this woman who was living in his brother's apartment because his brother was taken for re-education. And eventually, Arnold, trying to get out of the country, gets caught. And Killian, Richard Dawson's character, sees footage of him, and wants him for the game. And they even say in the movie where the State Department usually won't hand over military prisoners, but Killian pretty says they'll do it for me if they want high ratings. And Arnold ends up going and ends up being a contestant on The Running Man, and so is his two cohorts. And when they're released into the game, Arnold kills each stalker one by one until the end of the movie, and I won't give away the rest, but it's pretty much the gist. And this is a pretty standard Schwarzenegger 80s action movie. I think it's a pretty interesting concept where a game show / reality, back then there was not really any reality shows except for like Star Search, things like that. Nothing like Survivor or anything like that. I don't watch those shows, but I know the gist of them. It's kind of a twist on that. It's kind of predicated, they probably pretty much predates, they saw the future coming, but in this game, people actually die. And the public wants to see them die on TV. So it's kind of interesting. There's some really interesting themes there. They don't explore them too much. It's pretty much Arnold getting thrown into this game and has to fight to get out. And honestly, if you're an Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, you just want to see him kill a bunch of bad guys and win in the end, especially in the 80s. I mean, it's not quite as over the top as Commando, but the 80s cheese is in the movie. You can't help it. This movie while I enjoy it a lot and I do like it, it's not on par with Predator or Terminator, Terminator 2, or True Lies or Eraser. Eraser is even a better movie. But it's an Arnold movie, and I'm a fan of Arnold, and I enjoy it. And I just watched it again the other night, and it holds up pretty well. I mean, the 80s stuff is there that dates it, but you're going to have that with any 80s movies. It's a decent movie. I would give it 7 out of 10. It's not one of Arnold's better ones, but it's a good, decent film. I'm actually not a big fan of remakes, but I think this movie could be remade into something very interesting. Although you could say that Gerard Butler movie from back in, I don't know when it came out, I think it was 2008, 2009, Gamer, is kind of the same thing on a more high-tech level. But I think, I never read the book, but I think it could be made into an interesting movie now if they remade it. But as for it has everything you want, Arnold kicking butt like Arnold does, saying one-liners. You gotta have those one-liners in there. But it's a decent little action flick. Like I said, 7 out of 10 from me. I really enjoy it. It's not one of the better movies Arnold was in, but it's definitely not the worst. Yeah, that's it for me for The Running Man. If you've ever seen the movie, comment down below. Tell me what you thought of it. If you still watch it to this day. And that's about it. I will see you next time. Have a good night. See ya.